Well, it is almost every Kenyan's dream to own a home, but access to cheap, affordable housing has been more of a pipe dream. But wait a minute, will the new push by government to build 1 million affordable units be the magic bullet to the country's housing puzzle? Well, Kenyans Ashley Mazuri fishes for some answers from a developer.
It's no secret that owning a home is increasingly a priority for many Kenyans who want to exit out of the rent-paying cycle. A new narrative by the government seems to be causing a stir. Under the Big Four agenda, the state plans to build cheap homes that Kenyans can buy. Although this is seen as a step in the right direction, one wonders, why is owning a home such a task? Well, according to Saiton Investment Senior Manager Johnson Denge, it's the simple high cost of land financing tops the list among a few others.
Financing a bit high, so majority are not able to afford the cost of financing a typical mortgage to be able to access a housing. The other aspect will be generally on the other side of development, land cost very high.
The government, in its ambitious housing plan, aims to build 1 million homes by 2022 through two programs, social housing and affordable housing. The government will also work in partnership with financial institutions, private developers, manufacturers of building materials and cooperatives to deliver homes faster and reduce the cost of construction by at least 50%. Critics have, however, pointed out that the implementation timelines are unrealistic.
Although we are late, according to the whole process, we need to have done at least 200 units this year. It might delay a bit, but in development and with proper structures, funding being there, we can always recover this time.
Despite efforts by the government, they still need to look into some of the legislative instruments, a section of the Property Act and proper frameworks put in place to set the project on track.
There's a number of legislation, as you say, that needs to be looked into. There's the Section of Properties Act that needs to be looked into. There's the whole thing about Stamp Duty Act that needs to be looked into. The whole thing about NSSF or the funding, around, especially the whole discussion around the NSSF 2013 bill that needs to come into. We also need to recognize that all this requires a framework, of which I think the ministry is really pushing to make sure they come into fruition. During
the 2018-2019 budget reading, the Big Four agenda was allocated 460 billion shillings. Out of this, construction of affordable housing received 6 billion, with 3 billion for construction of affordable social housing units and 1.5 billion for the construction of police and prison officers' houses, with 1.5 billion set aside for the civil servants' housing scheme. Despite critics coming out to say that the timelines are unrealistic, many Kenyans still believe that the implementation of the affordable housing pillar is still a step ahead towards achieving the Kenyan dream. Ashley Mazuri, KTN News.